Welcome to Classic Car Cave. This is not about the Mini. This is hopefully just a very quick video, because over a period of time I've had a lot of people ask me about this rotisserie, this jig. And at the moment I've got two particular people that are asking me about the dimensions of it. So what I'm going to do is unfortunately the main support bars are under the bench and I can't get them out on my own. But that's actually something that I can talk to you about in the video. So I'll do some measurements here to show you, because otherwise it'll take too long to write everything down, and if you want to stop it and go back and get the measurements, now it'll all be in centimeters and you can work from that what you will. So this jig initially was made for an E-type Jaguar, which is a monocoque construction, and basically the way the system worked on here was you have two bars that go over these two smaller ones, so the bar went over the top of this on both sides, and this side is much smaller than this end. There's 10 centimeters of difference, so this end is wider. So this would be the front of the car as it tapers out to the front from the rear IRS on the tub legs. And what I'll do is I'll give you those measurements so you know exactly where they should be. But I would advise that if you're doing it, you should measure your E-type, because the whole point of the bars that went from one end to the other on the E-type is that they run absolutely parallel with the monocoque chassis legs. And so the idea is that you can use those to put in new floors, and they'll line up perfectly with, you know, if you put brackets on them so that they line up something like this. This is not it, but you can imagine if you had these bars down here, you could put a bracket like that across them and they'd be perfectly in line with each other. So that's the basic idea of it, but I'll just go over how they're made up. So the front and back is the way it lifts up and down is exactly the same, apart from it's got a stop lock on one end. The only difference is this T-bar across here and the distance from one side to the other, which I'll give you now. So the basic construction is you've got three ways to lift this car. You can lift it on this main pole here, going up and down. You can see it's just a friction, it's just a bolt and friction holding it here. There's no holes in it. So you can lift that up, and you just lift that up with a jack if you've got something on it, or you can lift it up manually when there's nothing on it. So you have the main base, and as you can see, even the corners are slotted into each other, there and there. And for obvious reasons, you don't want to be carrying something that big. You can take it apart and you can move it and collapse it. So that was why they were done that particular way. So as I said, this one goes inside here, and then this one here drops down onto this one. So there's another box section with this one dropping down inside it. And then in this particular case, it only had holes here. And then I had these two round pieces that I cut and made so we could have it at any angle we wanted. And that's how I made it up, because it wasn't like that when I got it. So I'll just give you some quick dimensions so you can see what we're talking about. Now the length you want these doesn't really matter too much, but I'll let you know that is 15 centimeters out. And as I said, the box section goes over the top of this, so it encompasses this, so you push it up. So, sorry, my dog's just come in. So, let's see if we can give you some. So, this T-bar across the back here, as you can see, that is 37 centimeters at the back, and at the other end, I'll bring it down the bottom here, and at the other end here we're looking at 37.3. So it's now tapering out a little bit. So it's 37.3 at this end here, and 37 here. That's the inside measurement. Now on the back, it should be around 47, I believe. So let's try it there. I don't want to get it on the weld, but so you can see there it's 47 on the back, and then right on the edge, I think it's 47 point. Well, it's actually showing 47 again, but there is a taper on them, And again, like I said, it's the same thing on the back. Originally the system was he had a nut welded on this. You put a bolt in, you turned it and turned it down, but it didn't secure it very well. As I said, fairly heavyweight construction, which you don't really need because I mean, the E-Type's quite a light monocoque construction, so it's not a big deal. But we've always found that this is just a better locking system here. And again, we put this on afterwards, this piece is, because originally it was on here. But what happens is you dig into the tubular and you bend it, and then it makes it hard to turn it. Now, bearing in mind with these, you're not turning them on a regular basis, and you're certainly not spinning them at any speed. So this balance thing is okay for turning it over yourself, but it doesn't need to be perfectly balanced. The better balanced it is, then the better, because you can turn it over on your own. Yeah, and that's all there is to it. There's obviously these tubulars inside. Again, they go into the end and from end to end. Now they can be a bit cumbersome when you've got the car on its side. They are an easy trip hazard, but what it does mean is it keeps the bottoms from splaying out. It stops this doing this, stops it from splaying out, because you've got these nuts welded in and you can make sure it's all square. But this is quite over-engineered, I have to say, but we've done many different cars on it. I say many different cars. You could make it fit any car if you wanted it. And you see on this particular Mini, we've used the bar from front to back. The problem with Minis, if you just use the front part and you only use the boot part, like this is in here, you can see how it's attached over the wheel tubs. Then the problem is this, without this bar, you get a certain amount of sinkage in the middle, and then you go to try to put floors in, and the car is kind of bananaed slightly like this. So the great thing about this jig is I can use it for anything. And strangely enough, this will probably be the last time I use it, because I'm nearly 70 in March, and I don't want to continue on doing big restorations. We'll do light stuff, small restorations and maintenance, but so this will probably end up being sold. The problem is the couple of guys that are interested in it, they live in the UK, or I'm not sure exactly where they live, but trying to transport this to them would be quite costly because it's very heavy steel. So, but it is something that I probably will end up letting go, because I'm not intending to do any more big ground up restorations. So I'll show you the bars, and I'll explain something else about the bars. I forgot to explain these, so I'll give you the inside measurements of the bar, so the ID of the bars. So they would have been, if I just check it here, they would have been something like 4.2. But what you would do is you would obviously use the box sections that fit better together. But if you use this internal 4.2, it's exactly the same thickness as the rail on an E-Type. But it wouldn't matter as long as one side was in line. And then in the bottom there, it's 9. So it's 9 centimeters by 4.2 in ID internal. And then there's the wall thickness, which is probably 2 mil, I would think, maybe 2.5 mil, I'm not sure. So that's the same on all of them, and they were built like this because what the guy did, he used that two box sections and he put a wedge in the middle of them. So I bought this from a guy in the UK that had finished a fixed head coupe on it, and I've done 2 E-Types on it. And I know we also put the XKs on it as well. Yeah, I believe we've done the XK. So we've done, God knows how many Minis, 2 E-Types, just in my ownership, 2 E-Types, 2 XKs, and at least half a dozen Minis, I would think. So I'll show you the other bars, but unfortunately, as I say, they're under a bench and they're just too heavy for me to get out on my own. But I'll give you the basic length of it, and I'll put a little bit of video up with the car on it. So you can see there's the 2 bars underneath there, and I can't really get to them because they're tucked right down the back and they're pretty long. The only thing I would say is you don't, oh, what's happened with the focus? Again, you can just see them down the back there, but I can't get them out, sorry guys. It's a lot of work to get them out. I don't want to end up doing my back in. But the thing about it is, if you take the length of the car, the length of the E-Type with the bonnet off, and then put the bars in, because the one thing I found with the bars that I had originally is I couldn't put the picture frame on to, when you put the engine frames on and the picture frame on, the picture frame had to be the other side of this to line it up. So what I would do is work out what the total length is and extend them, because the two bars are more than strong enough to take them on a cock. So even extending it by, you know, 18 inches or 20 inches will make no bit of difference, because they're so strong. And the material they're made out of is, I'm not sure, but I think they're 3mm. I think the idea is 3mm on them. So I hope that helps. I'm sorry I can't be any more help than that, but I forgot the bars were put away because we haven't done an E-Type. So in this case here, you can see we've obviously got it in the middle of the car, this piece, but normally on the E-Type it would be so much. This is why this bar is like this. It'd be so much lower down, and all you need is enough height to turn it completely to left or right. And obviously with the coupe it's probably a little bit higher because of the roof, but with the Roadster it was even lower. So I hope that helps, especially the two guys that have sent me emails recently, and I'll send them an email saying, look, I've made this little video and I hope it helps. But what I would do is definitely take the measurements of the tub itself, and actually extend it, like I said, because when you've got it all hooked up, the IRS, I'll send, if you look at the videos of it on the Jig, which you can go back to, whether that be my own E-Type or the second E-Type I did, you can see how it fits onto the IRS system, where the V-rubbers went, and it also shows you where it went on the bulkhead. So if you look at that, you can see that if you put the engine frames on, the engine frames would come from the firewall out, and they come out to about here somewhere, sort of this distance, and to put the picture frame on it, had to be on the other side. Now that doesn't work out very well. It shows that it bolts together, but you've got to take it all back off again. So what I would do is, because the car is sat on these bars here on both sides, you've got it sat on the chassis, and you've got it clamped on the chassis, so you can turn it and rotate it 360. Anyway, I hope that helps, gentlemen, in some way. And as usual, stay safe, keep the faith, enjoy your hobby, and we'll catch you in the next one, next update. Bye for now.